wanted to unpack my bag and go through what I used. So the first thing is this Flex Solar 15 watt solar panel, and I was pleasantly surprised at how well that went. I just took this piece of Exped Flex mat, you know, as a foam mat for sitting on around camp, or, you know, for in camp. I took my kilt, which I used as waterproof bottom half, as it were. That spoon, that compass tarp, this is the solo, no. I was very pleased with the tarp. This is the MLD Grace Duo, and it was fine. You know, it wasn't too windy. I mean, I wouldn't want to use this in very, very windy conditions, but, you know, it was fine. And I kept the bugs at bay with, there weren't too many bugs, to be honest. And I used the bivy bag. You'll see in my videos that this bit of plastic here worked very well for just get a bit more, you know, ground coverage around me rather than just the bivy gas. There's still some gas left. I still got to know how much exactly, but I used quite a bit. But then I drink a lot of tea. The Pocket Rocket Deluxe did very well. What you can do with the Pocket Rocket, if you've got a fire maple with the ridges on the bottom, if you open it up fully, it won't fit. But if you tweak them back about 2 degrees, it then fits. So you have a built-in windshield then. It's not as efficient as like a wind burner, Windmaster thing, or the reactor stove or something. But, you know, if you've got a stove like this, or you get a stove with like this, then that does make for an efficient cooking system. It would be even better if Fire Maple made, you know, a similar sized 600-800 ml pot, but a bit wider, because if you put the gas up too high, then obviously the flames come out. I mean, I'm not saying they come out, you know, you haven't got some, like, you know, World War II flamethrower coming out, but obviously it's just less efficient. So I kept it down quite low, and that lasted for, you know, for my time. Chris with his, and he's done a blog post, so check his blog post out. One of these, and he's got a Soto Windmaster, which is basically the same as a Pocket Rocket Deluxe. It's the same idea, and he had a wider pot. He had the Jetboil stash pot. And one of these canisters lasted him 15 days, bearing in mind he uses a lot less than I do. There probably is enough in there for at least one more night, and I got 4 nights out of it. So, you know, so even with my copious tea drinking, I would get for sure 5 days out of that. SUL Super Ultra Light. This was, so the tarp was 288 grams with all of my lines. The Super Light Bivy, this one has a Cuban base, which they still do this with a Cuban base, and this one has a full head net. This is a medium. I probably would go large. I must have got this years ago. So this is the This is when Ron MLD was using this white you know, reinforcement and everything. They haven't used that for a long time now, so I've had this for a very long time, but it did very well. Like I said, I definitely would recommend, you know, sizing up a little bit, mainly for around, you know, just to give you a bit more room around the knee and the foot area when you put a full, you know, airbed in. This Boniface food bag, that did well. Obviously you could just take a carrier bag or something, but I was very impressed with this. This really did well. I put normally I would put my food in, you know, 3 or 4 or 2 or 3 small stuff sacks like that, and then maybe other bits of food I'd be stuffing in here or there. Whereas I was able to put 4 days in there. You'd probably get 5 days food in there. You know, 4 days. It took 4 days easily. You probably would get 5 days. I'm not doing this with external audio. I do apologise. I will go back to that. It's just this was at the bottom of the pack, and I'm just unpacking the pack now, so it's just quick and easy. And the few of you that are going to watch anyway, and the rest aren't going to watch anyway. So that was just a spare battery for the GoPro and the external audio. That was my repair kit and the 10,000 milliamp power bank in there. So we obviously have a video on that. And then this one here is just a few other bits and bobs that I just put in here. So my nose spray, I don't know whether it does any good. I did put a spare spoon in. Body glide, which I did use on my feet every day, and that helped a lot. I suspect I would have got a blister on my left little toe if I hadn't have used that. And on at least one occasion I stopped lunchtime and put more on. No blisters, and I'm sure without that I would have had a blister. So I do recommend Body Glide on your toes particularly. That was the only place I needed to use it. I had some Fusidin in there if bites got too itchy, and some pseudo cream for soothing. I didn't need either of those items. I took one torch in the end, which I never once turned on because it just doesn't get dark up there. Mosquito coils, so I lit those, and I think they helped a little bit. I have got one of those flex tail things, but for long distance walking, you know, this is just ridiculously light. EE Enlightened Equipment Copperfield trousers. I'm not sure I'd be wanting to walk very far in them, to be fair, but I can't say for sure. They're just, you know, they're just elasticated. I don't know how well they stay up. The length was good. I think I'd like them, but then again, you're going to add a bit of weight because they were like 37 grams. But I kind of think I'd like them just a little bit longer up the back. I kind of think they're a little bit short on the back, a bit like the Senshi Designs trousers, which I must admit I'm a bit disappointed in those. I'll go through kit that I didn't take, which includes Senshi Designs, so I didn't take my Senshi Designs on this trip. But I did take these because they were 37 grams, and if my trousers were wet, or I just wanted, you know, a little bit more warmth in bed, then I had that. So the pillow did fine. Big Agnes Rapid SL pillow. My Chockfish merino hat, used that a couple of times in camp, but generally I didn't need it. Smart wool liner socks, very nice in camp when you just, you know, when you're in the sleeping bag or you're just moving around in camp and you want to get your wet shoes and socks off. You got your nice dry bit of plastic and your foam mat just around you. Put your nice dry socks on, And then you can put your feet on that, not on the grass, so your feet stay nice and cozy. PhD M degree sleeping bag. This was the 100. This is rated to 10 degrees, and it was fine. I think the temperatures dropped down to below 10 a little bit occasionally, but that's a fabulous sleeping bag. It's not cheap, but oh, I do love that. It's really nice, very light, 355 grams. PhD, the Wafer shirt, I think that's like 140 grams or 143 grams or something. It's just so ridiculously light. Obviously this bag, that did well, I used that. We had quite persistent heavy rain from time to time, and everything in that bag stayed dry. My airbed, this is obviously the Thermarest NXT, very nice, very cozy, and that's everything in there. I took, but didn't need or use, the Garmin InReach. I took one water bottle this side. Normally I would take 2 water bottles, but being that it's Scotland and you're never that far away from water, I was thinking, one, I've got a water bottle there. If we had been far away from water, then I would have put water in one of my platypuses and just put it in the pack just as a backup. So I had an MLD, which I've had with these for ages too, little shoulder strap, little shoulder pouch, and basically I put my sunglasses in once there and my eyeglasses there. And I never use the eyeglasses, but I'm not always very good at seeing up close, and I think if I needed to study a map really carefully, then I would probably need the glasses in that case. I carried 2 bungs, but I didn't. I should have taken them out, because taking the tarp, I didn't need the bungs. I took the bungs because it was a cross between tarp, solo mid, XL, or the cricket. And if I'd have taken the solo mid or the cricket, then I would have needed the bungs. So I kind of put them in, but didn't need them for what I ended up taking. The bug net, which I wore once, that was fine, that worked okay. You can even drink your tea wearing that bug net. Kestrel weather station, and then almost last but not least of what I took, a smidge in there. That was plenty, although looking into the light, I think I used half of it, and to be fair, I didn't use it very often. So the people that were saying this wouldn't be enough, it was, but you're right, if there'd have been many more midges, it wouldn't. But that's the natural midge repellent as well, that the cream stuff. So I had that as well, and I used a bit of that as well. So, and that's quite full. So I had plenty. Sun cream in there, decanted sun cream into this one. I used a little bit on the back of my hands and face a couple of times. I didn't use it very much, but I was glad I had it, and I had it decanted into that. The Hell Pack. This is a marvel. When I was first using it, like last year, I was thinking that that it's a bit that the back system is a bit short, and to be honest, I would prefer it a little bit longer. It would be just a little bit like easier and a bit more comfortable if the back system was a little bit longer, because it's a medium and they only do medium in the Hell Pack. But it worked fine, and basically my night system and other bits and bobs came to about here, and then obviously I then put my food in next, which brought it to about here when it was full, and then the cooker and a few other bits took it up to about here, and then obviously at the very beginning it was rolled like that, and then as the food which was down here went down, then obviously everything slowly drop down. So when I finished the walk at the very end, I just basically just very, very loosely put the sleeping bag in, because the food wasn't taking up this space here. So I just very loosely put the sleeping bag in, and then put the pot in and what have you, and it was just above the strap. So it did work very, very well. So the only other thing that I took but never used was my 26,500 milliamp power bank. Took it because normally I would take two 26,500 milliamp power banks, because I generally use a lot of power, but I didn't use it, and I only used the 10,000 milliamp power bank, which is this one in here. And that, combined with the solar power, for me lasted lasted the entire you know, 4 nights. It did really, really well. I was very impressed, you know, with that. And the only other thing I took with me, which I used on one occasion when the midges were about, was these liner gloves. They were the lightest gloves that I had. So I had the EE Enlightened Equipment Copperfield wind shirt. Brilliant. You know, it's like 57 grams. It's ridiculously light. I was getting quite warm in it, and it was very breathable. No breathability problems at all. Very light, very comfortable. I put my cap on, which I think is probably, here it is. I've got this cap, and I wear this when it's sunny, and you know, that helps keep the sun off my head there. And when it was very windy, I had my hat on, and then I zip this up, and it zips up to the chin. It doesn't move around, it's not getting in the way, it's not annoying. And then the hood obviously comes, you know, down here. You've got two very simple little bungee cord things here for tightening up the hood on this Copperfield jacket. Tightens up perfectly, didn't try to blow off. Very impressed with that. That was very good. And my Montane Pack Light jacket, 285 grams, something like that, I took, and I used that a couple of times when it was raining, and that performed fine when I put it on. And then I'll go through what I didn't take and why I didn't take it in another video. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. All right, we've got a bit of a jumble here, but I'm just going to show you a couple of things. This is an Avenue cook pot. It's the Avenue 570. This is Trail Design's Sidewinder cone that fits inside it, and that's a little cooker, and that is 90 grams. A top, which they say is for it, I don't know whether it's an exact top or not, adds 22 grams to 90 grams. So what's that, like, you know, nearly 20% of the weight is taken up with the top. I mean, I don't know how heavy that tin foil is, but it's not very heavy. So I'll try that at some point as something a little different. If you've been watching my videos, you'll know that I already have been using Trail Designs for 12 years. Someone somewhere mentioned ISO bar wool, so they had a sale on, so I think it was like 50% off. So I've got some leggings, I've got a hooded long sleeve top, and a long sleeve top. To be fair, I probably didn't really need that stuff, but sometimes you can't say no. I asked Ron if he could send me a couple of bits, and he very kindly sent me a Cuban single ground sheet. So I'll try that when the bugs aren't too bad. And he sent me I need to weigh this actually, so and seal it. This is the MLD FKT bivy. I'm interested in what this ground sheet is. That feels like poly. I'm wondering whether he's used the poly as the ground sheet on this and moved away from the nylon. I'm not sure. I need to double check on that one. Anyway, I just wanted to show you a few new acquisitions. Like I said, I will have to seam seal that, but what we're really here for